Hello and welcome on board another flight report. Today we are flying with Vietam Airlines on this A321-200 from Da Nang to Ho Chi Minh City. This will be our seat on today's 1 hour and maybe 20 minutes flight, I can't remember. This is a seat 1A on this domestic business class, and this is our window view. Standard legroom for first row seat. However, as you can see, the seats are really outdated. However, comfortable for the short flight, so can't complain there. The seat doesn't go fully flat, obviously, but it has this very old style buttons for reclining the seat and extending the leg rest. There's the view of the cabin behind me. There's adjustable headrest and the seat. The business class cabin consists of 3 rows in 2-2 configuration. The usual content of seat pocket, magazine, safety cards, and sick bag. Now I would like to talk a bit about how we got to business class. So we originally bought a ticket in economy, but since we bought this ticket months ago before the departure, the Vietam Airlines, like KLM, offer last minute upgrades, and this upgrade was around €75, I think. And we primarily bought it because of the lounge access in the airport. We arrived to the airport 3 hours in advance, hoping we'll have time to enjoy all the facilities. However, when we go to the check-in, the check-in agent informed us that since we have a connecting flight in Ho Chi Minh City to Siem Reap, that the flight we were originally booked on was delayed, and we would miss our connection in Ho Chi Minh. So she booked us on the earlier flight, giving us basically an hour from the moment we stood at the check-in until the departure. So it was very, very rushed. We literally ran into the lounge, used the toilet, had a glass of water, and ran to the gate. Here the cabin crew offered us a cold towel followed by a welcome drink. Vietam Airlines generally don't offer alcohol on the ground, and actually neither in the air really, since as we were informed, when it's only such a short flight as this one, they only offer beer. No wine, no champagne, or no spirits either. If I go back to our lounge experience, so since we didn't have much time to actually explore it properly, generally what I can tell you is that the Da Nang lounge only offers the usual Vietnamese food, noodles, pho soup, and some dumplings. We did ask for a wine, however, since wine is generally quite expensive in Vietnam, since it's very unavailable, as everything has to be imported from extreme distances, as the closest wine production country is Australia, or then everything else has to be shipped from Europe. When we ask for a wine, the lady working there says, "Oh, 10 minutes. Well, we don't really have 10 minutes. Our flight is in 45 minutes." So that's just our experience with a lounge in Da Nang. That actually reminds me of the one time being in London Heathrow Airport, where we sat at a restaurant in Wagamama. I think it's closed now, but basically I don't think that sometimes the staff working in these restaurants realize that they don't work in a restaurant, they work in a restaurant in the airport, and people are really limited by how much time they can spend somewhere. So I remember when we just ordered food, we ate it, and then we were really waiting forever to attract some attention to pay, and I was just like, we actually need to be somewhere. We are not here just to do our shopping. So let me know, how is your experience when it comes to food services in other airports.
Thank you.
Now I'm gonna skip ahead a bit because here we stop and we had to wait for another plane to land on the parallel runway, so enjoy the takeoff. As you can see, the weather wasn't great during our interstay, unfortunately, and this video was recorded in the end of February. I know it's a bit delayed, however, like I am a full-time working person. I don't get paid for making these videos. This is just my hobby. If I did get paid, well, of course I would be happy, but at the moment it's not the case. So I just do them whenever I have time and energy. Also, I had to wait for my new microphone to arrive from Rode, so I hope you can hear the difference now, because originally when I started making the videos I was only writing subtitles and then I was recording my voice onto the microphone that is part of my computer, but the sound was very bad, very low. I could barely hear myself, even though I put up the volume to the highest. So I hope you can hear the difference and it will make your experience much more enjoyable. Here we're gonna stop to do a little toilet tour. As I mentioned in many of my previous videos, I hate recording airplane toilets. I think there's something disgusting about it, and at the same time every single toilet in the universe just looks the exact same. That's why I will only record them when there's something different, which in this case is this flower, an air freshener and a toilet seat cover. I have now made a full use of the seat, so my tray table is out and so is my footrest. This is basically how the seat looks in the fully workable position. In the meantime, the cabin crew went around giving us a tablecloth to prepare our seat for the meal service. And at the moment we have 1 hour and 1 minute left until landing. And here is our meal service: a beer, yogurt with apricots, and a cold salad made of I don't actually know what. If there are any Vietnamese watching my videos, can you please comment below what did I actually eat. And here I ask, after the meal service, I ask for a Vietnamese coffee. They call it egg coffee, though there's no egg in it. It is a special Vietnamese drink. It's basically cold coffee kind of a frappe with a condensed milk on the top. It's really nice, really tasty, quite sweet, but it's different. I really liked it. Here we have a sneak peek into the back galley. All 3 toilets designed for economy are situated inside the cabin, not in the galley like many of the carriers do nowadays, also called ACF, Alternative Cabin Flex, where you're queuing for the 3 toilets situated in the galley, making the galley half size, having no space for crew to work or to move around, and neither for the passengers. So it's nice to see that the world is still normal somewhere.
Từ quý khách hãng hàng không quốc gia Việt Nam, thành viên Liên minh hàng không SkyTeam xin chân thành cảm ơn quý khách đã tin tưởng và lựa chọn Vietnam Airlines. The passengers, thank you for choosing Vietnam Airlines, a member of SkyTeam Alliance. Cabin crew check cabin galleys for landing.
Here we are passing over the new Ho Chi Minh City airport, which will be open in 2026. This airport is long overdue, as the Ho Chi Minh City airport that we are currently landing into is an absolute disaster. It's extremely crowded, it's not fit for purpose. The traffic supersedes its capacity, and even though this airport will be situated 40 kilometers away from the city, I can't wait for this airport to be open. Right at the suburbs of the new Ho Chi Minh City airport, there is a huge residential area being built as we speak. I wonder what the prices will be like, but generally Vietnam is split into 2 halves, where Hanoi in the north is the poor part, and Ho Chi Minh City in the south is the rich metropolitan area. So it will be interesting to see how this place is going to look like in a few years' time.
Cabin crew seated for landing.
Cabin crew seated for landing. I know that generally people don't watch this part of the video anymore, and after they've seen what was being served on a plane, they just either skip to the end or they just close the video altogether. However, I'm trying to be a bit different than all the other YouTubers and people making videos about flights. I want my videos to be like you were inside the plane, like you were the passenger yourself. Hence, that's why I have so many window views and cabin views. Well, I'm trying to have as many cabins as possible. However, it's not exactly easy with the GDPR now, when people make faces when you record them, and then you have to just blur them, and it just adds additional workload. However, my aim ultimately is that you should feel like you are inside the plane yourself, in my seat, looking out of the window and seeing what I see. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Spoilers up. Don't turn off the video yet, because in a few moments we're gonna see another airplane taking off right in our direction.
Khách đến sân bay quốc tế Tân Sơn Nhất thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Bây giờ là 1 giờ 3 phút buổi chiều, nhiệt độ bên ngoài 32 độ C. Quý khách lưu ý vẫn ngồi tại chỗ, cài chặt dây an toàn cho đến khi máy bay dừng hẳn và đèn hiệu cài dây an toàn đã tắt.
That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to comment and subscribe and all the usual. And I have 2 more videos coming, one with AirAsia from Ho Chi Minh City to Siem Reap, and then one with KLM in business class from Bangkok to Amsterdam. So stay tuned and see you again.
Could do some size and cross check.